The South Sudan Human Rights Commission says there is a concern on the independence and functionality of the South Sudan judiciary. The statement was echoed during the 12th Human Rights Commission visit to South Sudan. Carlo Catresena says the state of the country's judiciary system is ineffective, adding that the government needs to improve the system.
And this is the reality. South Sudan's judiciary is not functioning. It is severely under-resourced, have not the money or the personnel or the distribution in the territory, lack the means to be impartial and independent, and in most parts of the country has not effective presence. Yesterday we visited Jonglei, South Sudan's largest state, where no high court judge is in place, making the prosecution of rape and murder virtually impossible in regular courts. The persistence of widespread sexual and gender-based violence, including the abductions, cannot be separated from the fact that rule of law institutions is not in place to address these crimes. The government, in spite of this reality, we need to check that they have available resources. It is not a problem of lack of resources.
The Commissioner, Bani Afako, calls for an open civic space and safety for actors to be able to carry out their duties without interference, especially during the upcoming election.
Now, for these processes of transitional justice, constitution making, and elections to be credible and meaningful, it's imperative that civic space must be opened up and maintained. Journalists and members of civil society must be protected, but also encouraged to freely engage in public discussion on all the key aspects that face the country. They should be able to do this without threats of attacks or reprisals or having their offices closed. Elections are anticipated in December 2024. These will also be the first elections for South Sudan. We know that South Sudanese want to see elections that are free and fair and reflect their choices. They want elections that end with handshakes, not with fighting.
The Commissioner, Yassine Soka, says there is need to address cases of human rights violations, citing the abduction of women and girls in South Sudan.
Our work is therefore primarily informed by the voices of the people across the country's diverse ethnic, geographic, gender and political spectrums. Our findings give voice and agency to those whose voices are not heard, informing our perspectives on human rights in South Sudan. The Commission is, of course, also tasked in its mandate to ensure and prevent the recurrence of further violations. And in this context, our recommendations to government, the United Nations and the international community present in South Sudan is really to address the challenges facing the country and to ensure that it does not relapse into conflict again. Abductions have resulted in male members of families being killed, women and children taken as forced wives and sexual slaves, with some of them even being trafficked. These atrocities are carried out by armed groups and also members of the armed forces. And authorities have told us that they lack the resources to deal with the issue conclusively.
Reporting for Juba Echo TV, I am Adia Gildo.